All right, so we're going to dig down into a little bit of how to make a WordPress, sort of site look and work not quite like a WordPress site that looks like a blog or looks ugly. The primary way we're going to do this is with themes. Themes are going to provide us the majority of the functionality. I pointed out earlier themeforest.net. This is where you can find different themes, usually under WordPress, and kind of find one that fits for you. Now, generally, it is good to purchase a premium theme. You don't have to. There are free themes on WordPress.org, and they're generally okay. They've been getting a lot better as they go along. But one of the things that you will find is that if they do not have some functionality, it is not super easy to add them in. A free theme doesn't often go to extra lengths to try to get your spending dollars. So spending $60 to $70 on a premium theme will often get you a lot more. Let's take a look at this one called Author. And this is sort of the process you're going to have to go through finding one, is going through looking based on keywords for things that you want. Promotional theme, we want it to be WordPress, and we're going to look for something that has portfolio. All right, so just looking for keywords, finding different things. You can find different themes that and say, well, let me pull open 5 tabs worth, take a look at their screenshots. Nah, that's not what I like. Nah, that looks okay. That could be interesting, but I don't think I have the art to make that work. Okay, that could be interesting if I put in some extra effort. So you kind of go and you find some, and then you click on their live previews. You kind of see what they have through here, but then these live previews will tell you a lot. So here's a very blog-looking theme. That may not be the look we're going for, that may be the look we're going for, but that's sort of what you want to gauge here is, does this fit the design aesthetic you want? I'm going to show this one called You because I've recently done a website in it. Allow all scripts. All right, so now it's pulled up this information. You can kind of see it, and you can kind of scroll down and see how it's set up and see if you can imagine your content going into this theme. All right, so your logo would be there. You'd have your information. You would have, an image here, some interesting setup information. Okay, that could be cool. You could do that with a game cover. Here's different examples of things they have, but these aren't examples of the theme. They're just portfolio. All right, that could work. But then you have to ask a lot of questions about it. And I've put a lot of stuff you may want to think about in a big, long list in the PDF document, but you want to go through and see what their options are like. You want to go through and see what their basic About Us page is like, because home pages can do a lot of different things. Like, okay, this could look well. You also want to take a look at all these little elements and decide if you can manipulate them to what you want. This is obviously kind of a creative agency theme, a very white creative agency theme. But you want to see if, like, okay, could I do something with this? Do I have, would this be good for my team members, or could I kind of manipulate this to be a product display? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. It depends on what the theme is there, but you kind of want to imagine your content in here and determine if every page has this functionality. You also may want to look for something. This is called Visual Composer. Visual Composer is a back-end sort of theme that allows a structuring of elements and data. A lot of sites and themes use these, and it's what has this column structure. This is a row. These are 4 columns within the row. This is one other row with the background. This is another row with the background and a slider in it. This is a row with 4 columns. You get the drift of that. If they do have options like that, if it is Visual Composer, you can often do a lot of different things with it. So it does kind of guarantee some extra options. So find a theme that you like, kind of figure out if it's gonna work for you, and always remember that in these promotional themes, they are going to throw everything at you on the front page. It may be what you want, it may not be what you want, but they are going to throw everything at you, and you can say, can I take this away? Can I modify this? That's where you're going to have to go back, look through this, see how they do stuff, see if they have a demo of the back end. Okay, so this is create any design. See if they have multiple like this that you can be kind of picky on and say, oh yeah, I could see doing that with mine. That looks good. There's obviously a lot of options here. I could make this one page theme they've got. If they can make it in this, I can probably make it in this. How does this work? Okay, that looks cool. This is still the same theme. Yeah, all right. So if you can kind of see doing this because you put in the work, and you put in a lot of the work to get this content the way they want and modify their demo content, then it may be a good theme for you. This is a decent one that I came across for a recent project, and it works pretty well. Art, you definitely want to make sure that you have the art to fit in here. They use a lot of stock art. They use a lot of other, images here, but this is pretty minimal and uses some graphic design to bring some visual appeal. So if you don't have a lot of big full color art, and I'm going to call out one of my clients, Monty Cook Games, they have a lot of big high color art, so it is not hard to make it look great and do some interesting stuff with it, because there's always some more art that we can pull in and make use of for stuff. So if you don't have the art resources like that, then you may want to find something that does have a little more graphic design, that you can use some other stock art or backgrounds to give some visual flair if that is within your brand identity. You also, while you're doing this, want to look at how quick this loads on the live preview. You can see with this U theme, it does have a little sort of connection, buffering sort of thing there, but it did load pretty quick. This is, of course, on a server optimized to load it quickly. So, but if it does have a, very long wait time, then you want to make sure that it is not going to be an issue on your shared hosting, because you probably don't have the server resources that they do to throw at this. Anything else? Oh, the other thing, I'll call out my own one. A company website, people have very different expectations than a personal promotion website, so you can often get away with the different things on a personal promotion website. This is, of course, mine, but this kind of structure for navigation is not something I would suggest for actual, company, because unless they could make it work right and wanted to break from sort of traditional setups, it's good for personal promotion because you want to kind of break the mold a little bit. You want to do things a little differently. Here's another really good one that I've seen out there that does really interesting stuff. Okay, the load time, it does take a little while to load, so you kind of have to expect that. But then the actual way this does content is very different, and it has a very unique structure. So if you're doing personal promotion, you can break the barriers a little, but if you're going for a company website, you have to keep in mind that people sometimes like comfort and want a very specific thing. If somebody comes looking for your game line, they may be put off by this rather than they want to find more information about you, or they've just stumbled across you. So once you have the themes and you've kind of figured out what you want, what you have to do is install it, purchase it and download it, and then you will be provided with a zip folder like this. You can unzip it, and often once you have unzipped it, you will be provided with a folder with documentation, demo data, and two other zip folders. The two other zip folders are what you are going to actually install. These are unzipped versions of it, documentation, but these are the two ones you're actually going to install. Once you go to your site, you can go to Manage Appearance Themes and Add New. Now, there are two things with these themes. You are going to want to install the regular theme and you're going to want to install the child theme. This is if you're going to get into some customization or other stuff down the road, but it's never a bad idea. A child theme is something that is the theme, but it allows you to make changes to it. Alright, so I paused it there for a second so that we could upload these and not waste time on that. But once you have the themes installed, you have your main theme, and preferably you have the child theme. The child theme is good for customizations, and if the main theme updates. So all you have to do then is activate that theme, and then it will go through and make that the theme. It'll often bring up a setup like this, and there is demo content that you can install. Alright, so I'm just going to install the demo content for... Let's go for Freelancer. That one won't be bad. It'll ask you to install some plugins, possibly. And the plugin install page often looks like this. They have bundled a bunch of plugins together that you can just install from this page, and they will go ahead and install their versions of it. It may not be the most up-to-date version, but it will be, the version of this. But here's Visual Composer, like I talked about. Revolution Slider, which is another very common one. WooCommerce is something that we'll get to in the e-commerce section. Alright, so in the pauses I have installed the plugins that were bundled with the premium theme, and I have installed the JD Freelancer. So now my Silvervine Games old site now looks like this. So it has put all this demo content in here. We have got under themes the base theme installed, but the U child theme installed. So if I ever need to or want to, I can go to editor and input my own custom code or overwrite certain styles. This is only important, if you really need to overwrite something, but it is good for security purposes. So here is the way this looks and is set up. Now if I want to edit this, I can click on edit page, and you can see, and I will go into this more in depth in a different one, but you can see the backend now is different from the standard WordPress setup of simple stuff for posts and pages. This is a much more complex thing, and this all comes from Visual Composer, but this is where it comes into creating content. But that will be in the next one.